Good afternoon, bowlers. This is Coach Logan Revere coming at you with the second episode. We're going to be discussing what your ball is doing as it's going down the lane. So whether you choose to believe me or not, those of you that are bowling straight and standing here when you throw, and those of you that are hooking the lane, so to speak, and are standing here when you throw, your ball is making the same exact shape down the lane. And we're going to discuss why that is.
To help get a better reference, let's take a look at this picture I have here. So right here, I have someone that's throwing straight, someone hooking the lane, and someone going somewhere in between. So if we take this bit here, I'm going to place it over the bowler that's going the straightest, or the right. And you'll notice it overlaps perfectly. Now, I'm going to take this exact same piece I have here and place it on someone in the middle, someone who has a little bit of hook, quote unquote. And you'll notice it's the exact same. Pretty interesting, isn't it? Now, for our two-handers, or people that are trying to hook the lane a little bit more than others and standing more left, let's see if it still overlaps. It's identical. Now, let's talk about why this is. Firstly, it's important for us to understand where exactly we're going to see oil and where exactly we're not going to see oil, otherwise known as friction. On your normal house pattern, as pictured here, you'll notice most of the oil will be concentrated in the center of the lane, where the outskirts of it will have less oil, where closer to the gutter there is no oil. With this being said, the ball hooks when it sees friction, aka no oil. Therefore, to get the ball to hook more, throwing it out more would cause it to see more friction, versus in will cause it to skid or not see friction and continue going straight before hooking by throwing up the center of the lane. I'm sure many of you are wondering, okay, Coach Logan, well, what exactly causes more hook? There are three primary aspects that go into causing the most amount of hook, and we'll talk about them now. One of the three leading causes is going to be the angle of which the ball comes off your hand. What I mean by this is the degrees of angle to the left if you're a righty, or to the right if you're a lefty, the ball is angled going into the pocket, as can be seen by this photo. Another leading cause of hook is going to be the amount of revolutions, or revs per minute, or the amount of spin you're putting on the ball as it's going down the lane. The more revs you put on the bowling ball, the more aggressive it will seem on the back end of the bowling lane. By far, the most impactful portion of these three that will cause the most amount of hook is going to be the speed of which you deliver the bowling ball down the lane. And to help kind of make this make more sense to those of you who may not quite get this concept, I believe this can be best compared to a car. So let's talk about it. Pictured here are going to be two cars, the left one of which is driving much faster than the car on the right, as indicated by the arrows going forward. Now I want you to imagine you tell both of these cars to slam on their brakes and make a left turn as quickly as they can, also known as, in our case of bowling, see friction, of which there's no oil at the back end of the lane. Now, if you try to accomplish this with the faster car, it's not going to be able to turn nearly as effectively as the slower car is, as seen by this pictured above. Now I want you to imagine the car on the left is driving on ice and the car on the right is driving on a normal paved road. Same speed they're going as indicated in the photo above. Which car should turn more? Well, of course, the one that's going a little slower. Think about this. The one on the left, the car on the left going faster, drove through the oil in our case, or the center of the lane, while the ball going slower, or car driving slower on the right, was on the outside of the lane where there's more friction, allowing it to see the turn and change in direction much sooner and sharper than the one on the left. Many of you still be wondering what I'm trying to get you to gain out of seeing this example. What I'm trying to explain is the car that's going slower will always be able to turn much easier and more effectively than the car going faster. Now, when we bowl, do we always want to hook the lane more? Absolutely not. But I'm trying to stress to you that speed is the most important factor, and it causes the easiest difference in terms of how much you're hooking the bowling ball. So let's move forward and take a look at some actual on-lane examples, put them overlapping each other, and I'll have some notes that will display underneath the shot in slow motion so you can actually see the proper comparison overlapping. the sooner that you are able to realize that the primary three things you're altering are speed, revolutions of the bowling ball, and angle of the bowling ball while it goes down the lane are what is ultimately causing you to hook the lane, quote unquote, the better off you're going to be. Next time you go out, try to be able to identify these and use these to your advantage and play the lane in different ways. You can get any ball to hook, and you can get any ball to go just as straight.